Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining me again. I am back, your movie guru, with another review. And this time I'm going to be bringing a film that probably flew under your radar if you weren't a big fan of the former franchise or the video game franchise. It definitely flew under my radar. I don't know how much the marketing was for this film, but I can't imagine it was very much because I didn't see a lot of advertisement for this movie. I'm talking about none other than Resident Evil: Welcome to Raccoon City. Now, right off the bat, it's got a 28% score from the critics by Rotten Tomatoes and a 56% audience score. That's pretty low considering that I would imagine that a lot of people that came to see this film were people that were either fans of the former franchise or, like I said, or they played the video games that the film is based off of. So if you're a little confused, you're probably like most people. This is not the same continuity as the Resident Evil films that have been going on from 2002 to 2016, which were all helmed, or most prominently helmed, by Milla Jovovich. That slate of films wrapped up in 2016 with, I believe it was titled The Final Chapter. And now this is a kind of reboot of the franchise. Now, I didn't play all of the Resident Evil games. I don't think I've ever finished one to completion. But just from what I've read and from what I've seen, what this film was supposed to be was Resident Evils 1 and 2, both of those initial two video games packaged together into one movie. Now, this is a movie that I think you can enjoy if you haven't seen, if you haven't seen any other video games, if you haven't seen any of the previous films, or if you haven't played the video games. But this film makes it pretty difficult to do that. So it does start off with a fresh cast. Kaya, I'm going to butcher her name. I believe it's Scodelario and Robbie Amell. So they play the titular characters, Claire and Chris Redfield. And, as far as the acting goes, it does a fine job. Or a serviceable job. It's nothing that, you're looking at them and saying, oh, I can't believe what it is they're trying to convey because the acting's bad. So none of those type of issues. But it really is hard to get into the plot if you haven't been exposed to the games before. Having seen this film, when I went and saw it as an outsider, I could tell that they really expected the people to be familiar with the game because there's a lot of things they just flat out didn't explain, and they just kind of expected you to know. Now, some of the things I did know just because I had seen some of the other Resident Evil films. So, we knew that Umbrella Corporation is bad and, that it's about zombies and, T-virus, that type of thing. But there's a lot that's not explained, and I think that the plot really suffers considerably because of that. I can't speak for someone who's played the video games, and so they're familiar with the lore and all that, so I don't know how good a job this film did representing those video games, or, how close the characters were to the, to what they were in the video games. But I can tell you, as someone coming in as an outsider, just your average moviegoer, for a lot of it, you're going to be like, what's going on? So the plot is already, a lot of problems with it. And then I don't think that the pacing was quite right in this one. There were a lot of boring moments, saddled with some exciting. And given that this is a reboot, you kind of expect that you're introduced to the characters and then they're building on the characters because you've got to get to know these people. once again, like I said, I think they expect you to know the characters from the video games, because even thinking back on it now, I can't tell you like specific personality traits of the characters, other than the one that I most remember is the cop, the rookie cop who's infuriating because you don't understand how he could have possibly gotten that job, just the way that they show him to be utterly incompetent throughout the whole movie. But, you know, so there's no real character development, which for me is kind of a big no-go when it's the reboot, you know, of a film in something that you're trying to have a big franchise of, you know. So how are you going to continue to make films in this series, and then you're not going to flesh out the characters? Because it's us as an audience, we're going to be like, okay, so why should I care? Now, that said, the film did have some redeeming qualities. There was a really cool action sequence I saw in it, and there's a scene where Chris Redfield, he's trying to fight through these zombies in a mansion, and it's dark so that you can't see anything, but he's only guided by the light from the muzzle flash. And so it's a pretty entertaining sequence when, you know, he's shooting and you can't see, but then you see what happens when you see the muzzle flash and he's fighting his way through. So that scene was pretty cool. There were a couple other scenes that I thought were entertaining, but you had the entertaining scenes, and then you had special effects that seemed like they were kind of like a B movie. It kind of reminds me of like maybe a little bit of a higher end sci-fi film, or, you know, I could absolutely see this as something that was straight to DVD, with, you know, maybe just like if there was like a quality between movie quality and straight to DVD, and if there was like a tier in between those, that's kind of where I'd place this one. So I'd give this one about a 5.5 out of 10, maybe a 6. Like I say, it doesn't, you know, it's not terrible. I have seen reviews and other things of people saying they were waiting for it to be over, and, you know, it was dreadful. I don't go that far. Like I said, I do think that once the film gets going, you know, it's definitely has its entertaining moments. I thought the zombies were done well. The action sequences were good enough, even if the special effects were kind of B grade. I think it's enough to capture your interest, but I don't think it's something that I'd go to the theater to see, you know, unless you're a diehard Resident Evil fan, or, you know, you absolutely love movies, or, you know, you otherwise don't have anything else to do. This is something that I can definitely, if it would have been, you know, on a streaming service, if I would have been able to turn on Amazon Prime or turn on Netflix and check this out, then I think I would have given a higher score. It would have been, like I say, just a serviceable, you know, sci-fi type movie where it was like, okay, hey, you know, it wasn't great, but I didn't expect much from it either. But for this to be exclusively in theaters, and I had to go and make an event of this, you know, not the type of film that I would want to see in theaters, mostly because I don't think that there's something from this film that 5-10 years from now that you're going to remember and be like, oh yeah, that's that film where this happens. It's going to be kind of like, what happened? I saw this. Oh yeah, now I know what you're talking about. Really, it's one of those kind of things. So that's my rating for now. It might change in time. You know, there might be some things I missed, or a sequel might come, and, you know, I might love that one. But as it stands now, you know, there is also a mid-credit scene that some of you might find interesting. And, you know, that's supposed to build upon the franchise and what you can expect to see in the future. But I can tell you that as an average moviegoer, I don't really I'm not looking forward to, I'm not counting down the minutes like, oh, when's the next film in this entry coming up? I can't wait to see what happens next. I'll go see it just because I see movies, but it's definitely not something that I'm holding my breath for. But hey, that's my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. If you think that this film was great, really true to the source material, so that's why you liked it, or you thought the zombies were done great, it was entertaining to you, you think it's a phenomenal movie, then we're probably going to have words, because I don't see how you could get phenomenal from this. But let me know what you think. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave me a comment, we can talk about it. Thank you for your support, and I will see you all on the next one. Thank you.